Okay, so I don't know if you saw my recent 4 TikToks. So those are my conversations with Hayden Christensen. And during Fanexpo Chicago, he looked like he recognized me. And this is probably where he recognized me from. This is from GalaxyCon last year in my state, back in December. And I made him a jacket. And apparently Hayden's really good at memorizing faces, so... Hayden Christensen recognized me. I'm not okay. So as you can see, I made him a jacket. It says, "This is where the fun begins." It has Anakin, Saber on one side, Vader's on the other. And he absolutely loved my jacket. That he said, "We gotta hold this up because we gotta show it off." Hayden, I love you so much. But this is probably where he recognized me. Like, I don't change my appearance. So that's probably where he recognized me. Like, how do you say that Anakin Skywalker recognized you? How could you say that with a straight face? So, Fanexpo Chicago, I technically met him 4 times. Because I met him at 2 of his autographs and 2 of his photo ops in Chicago. And technically, GalaxyCon last year, back in December, I technically met him 5 times. I'm like, I don't know how you say that. But when he saw me, he was looking at me like he recognized me. And I'm like, oh God, what's happening? What is happening? I'm like, is he recognizing me? Because he's looking at me like, where have I seen this face before? I said, it was up my photo. And I said, "Hi Hayden, it's nice to see you. Again, I met you at GalaxyCon. And I'm the one that made you that jacket." And this is where I could see the look on his face. He's like, "That's where I recognize you." He's like, wait. He's looking at me like, wait a second. That's where I recognize you from. And he said, "Hi, it's nice to see you again. You look amazing." I'm not okay. Don't tell me I look amazing, Hayden, because I almost collapsed to the floor. And I could feel when I put my hand around this man's back, I could feel that I was shaking. And I know he felt me shaking. But he was so sweet. And I'm terrible at eye contact. I don't know what it is. If that's an ADHD thing or an autism thing. But I am terrible at eye contact. I can never look someone in the eyes. But for some reason, I could not look away from this man. I couldn't look away. Like, I'm staring into his eyes like I'm getting hypnotized by how blue they are. Then he's talking to me, and then I zoom out and realize, oh shit, I'm talking to Anakin Skywalker right now. And then I geek out a little bit. But during our autograph, he said, "It's nice to see you again." And I said, "I'm the one that made you that jacket last year, back at GalaxyCon in my state." And I said, "Actually, if you need something to wear tomorrow," the next day of the convention, because I was going, this happened. I showed him my jacket, and the look on his face, like his eyes popped out of his head. So I showed him this jacket I made him, and he absolutely loved it. He said, "Look at that, no way." And I said, "It's for you." And he's like, "For real? That's awesome." And I said, "Actually, I made a jacket for Ewan. I'm giving it to him tomorrow." And he said, "That's really cool." And I said, "Thank you. My name's Carrie, and it's nice meeting you." And he said, "Nice to meet you too." So this happened Sunday. I met Ewan Mcgregor. It was a very fast photo op. My Ewan and Hayden photo ops were right at the exact same time, but people were telling me to go into Ewan's line first because he's faster. He absolutely is. I can tell you that. Like, as soon as you say hi, you buy, done. And then I had to immediately hop in Hayden's line after my Ewan photo op. But basically I said, "Hi, it's nice to meet you." And he said, "Nice to meet you too." And I said, "Thank you for the picture." But question, why do I look like him? I know that sounds weird, but I feel like I look more like him than I do my actual father. I get told I look just like my dad. I feel like I look like I could be related to Ewan McGregor. Don't know. But I wasn't able to give Ewan my jacket I made him. So I gave it to Hayden to give to him. So this is the jacket I made for Ewan McGregor. It's just got Kenobi sabers on both sleeves and has this fan art, which is actually someone made a fan art of Ewan in the Clone Wars armor, and I tried drawing it. It's not the best, but I tried, and I, of course, you think I would have it say, hello there, or so uncivilized. I had to say, that's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi, from the Graham Norton interview that Ewan McGregor did. So, this is Ewan's jacket. And since I wasn't able to give it to Ewan, I gave it to Hayden to give to Ewan. As soon as I got out of Ewan's line, I went straight into Hayden's line because my photo ops were at the exact same time. They said to go to Ewan's first, and then after I was done, go into Hayden's line. I'm like, okay, so I don't have time to process. I just met fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi, and now I get to meet Anakin Skywalker again. And of course, this man recognized me again. I'm not okay. Like, how does he recognize me? Apparently, Hayden's good at recognizing faces. And I said that I was going to be back tomorrow, so that's probably where he recognized me. But he said, it's nice to see you again. And it took everything in me to not collapse right there. And I said, it's nice to see you again, too. And I said, do you want to do the Padme pose? He said, let's do it! Sir! And just look at the picture. Do I even need to say anything? Just look at the picture. This man's whole forearm is the length of my torso. Like, I didn't think I was small, but compared to how big his arm is, I'm not okay. Like, his whole arm went around my torso. Okay. And look at the grip he has on my shoulder. Hayden, I love you. So, my heart was pounding out of my chest. And as soon as his arm went across my torso, I know for a fact he felt my heart pounding out of my chest. Because, as you can see, for some reason, my instinct was to grab onto Hayden's forearm. And I could feel my heart beating through my hand. Which means my heart is beating so hard and so fast that it is pounding through my chest, through this man's forearm, and into my hand. I'm like, oh God. I can't. I could have leaned the other way. I could have leaned my head the other way onto him. But I leaned my head onto his arm. Which I think is kind of cute. But I said, you want to do the Padme pose? And he said, let's do it. And I said, thank you. Oh, and I brought Ewan's jacket. And he said, that's awesome. And I said, it's nice to see you again. And he said, you too. And this man, it's like after my photo with him, I look back and he's still looking at me smiling. And it looked like he did not want to let go. Not okay. So I go into the autograph line. He says, it's nice to see you again. I'm like, hi, Hayden. I said, here you go, Ewan's jacket. He said, it's amazing. He said, that's awesome. And I said, would you be able to give him the jacket? He said, absolutely. I said, I wasn't able to give him the jacket during our photo op, and apparently your panel sold out. And he was shocked that his panel was sold out. Like, do you not know who you and Ewan are? Of course your panel would be sold out. So I wasn't able to go to the panel. And he said, I will give the jacket to him. And I said, thank you. And I said, did you like yours? He said he loved it. And he thought it was really cool. And I said, thank you. I didn't bring it, but I should have. I made pants for the anniversary of Revenge of the Sith coming back in theaters because it was my birthday when it came back in theaters. And I said, April 22nd. He said, very close to mine. And I guessed, and I said, 19th? And he's like, yeah, 19th, that's it. And I'm like, that's awesome. And he said, take care and have a good day. And I'm like, thank you. Why do I want to meet this man again?